Naomi Osaka will boycott press during this upcoming Roland Garros. Look, I like Osaka. I think she's great for the sport. I'm going to say right off the bat that I am not here to bash her for this. I am not here to defend her for this. There's things that I like about what she's doing, and there's things that I don't like about what she's doing. That's the honest truth. Here's what she said in a post on Instagram. She said that she won't be doing any press during the French Open. Quote, "I've often felt that people have no regard for athletes' mental health, and this rings very true whenever I see a press conference or partake in one. We're often sat there and asked questions that we've been asked multiple times before, or ask questions that bring doubt into our minds, and I'm not just going to subject myself to people that doubt me. I've watched many clips of athletes breaking down after a loss, and I know I have as well. I believe that the whole situation is kicking a person while they're down, and I don't understand the reasoning behind it." She goes on to say that she hopes that the fines that she knows that she will have to pay will get donated to mental health. So first, I want to just start off. Again, I have multiple angles that I want to explore here. First of all, the most common misconception and the reaction that bothers me the most is, well, Osaka's not doing her job. Osaka is not doing what she gets paid to do. Well, no, that's not true at all, right? Because Osaka shows up at the tournament and agrees to play in the tournament with a set of terms. And the terms go like this. You are supposed to do press. If you don't do press, this is the fine. There are two options there, right? Option A or option B. Do press or don't and get fined. And she's just selecting option B. She's going to pay the fines. She is doing her job, right? She's just selecting the option where she's going to get fined. Obviously, the interesting part is that it comes on the same day as this announcement. Naomi Osaka earned $50 million on the court in the past 12 months, part of a record total to any female athlete in history, a total of $55.2 million. Off-court earnings trailed only by LeBron James, Roger Federer, and Tiger Woods. So first of all, congratulations to Naomi Osaka. And this is just an example of numbers that prove that she does move the needle. She does make a difference in our sport. So obviously she can afford it. That's part of the calculus here, because a lot of the tour would not be able to take the steps that she is taking because they, quite frankly, wouldn't be able to throw away the amount of money that Osaka is going to have to pay to the FFT in order to stage this protest. Mental health is a good cause. I don't want to bury that. And the fact that she's bringing light to that, I suppose, or I don't suppose, I guess that is unequivocally a good thing. And mental health it's a great cause, something that people and society definitely needs to treat more and more seriously. And I see that happening before our eyes. The last thing is, might it help her win? And I guess it should be addressed, the timing of this, that she is going into a major that she has never been past the third round at. And if Osaka is going to take heat in the press at any venue, at any part of the year, it's going to be right now. And the questions that she's going to be asked are going to be more negative at the French Open, especially in the early goings before she makes that breakthrough. It's going to be more negative at this tournament than it's going to be at any other tournament. She's going to get the, Naomi, what's going on clay? Why are you concerned? Why can't you win on clay yet? Why aren't you winning on clay? It's kind of like what a lot of players have to face before they win their first major. What happened to Caroline Wozniacki when she was number one in the world and hadn't won a major yet? What happened to Andy Murray when he had tons and tons of success but was yet to win a major? And every time he walks to press, it's, have you won a major yet? Why haven't you won a major yet? Are you going to win a major? When are you going to win a major? And that's just kind of how it is. Is that bad for an athlete? Does that help an athlete? No, of course not. It's not good. It is just something that I would think is just part of it, and unfortunately part of the deal, right? But no, that's not good. That's not good for winning. And maybe this will help Osaka. Maybe she has a better chance of going deep when she stops hearing about her struggles on clay. So I think the timing is interesting, and I do think that she would have, obviously, if she were at the U.S. Open or the Australian Open, where she could expect to not have to field those annoying questions, maybe people would look at this from a different light. But I once actually covered a tennis player at Syracuse who did not like to know the ranking of her opponent. And if you ever interviewed her or if you ever talked to her, she would ask me, please do not tell me the ranking of my opponent. She didn't want to know because it psyched her out and it stressed her out. And the reason I'm telling you this story is that there are probably a lot of examples of these press conferences actually and legitimately psychologically affecting these players in negative ways. So that is valid. I want to just throw that out there, that there's some validity to that. But now we get to the crux of this in I guess a way that I would call a little bit more critical. And I think to do that, you ask, what is her complaint? What is her complaint here? Well, first of all, what is her call to action? What does she want to happen? Well, she says a little bit later on in her statement, the part that I didn't read, she says, however, if organizations think that they can just keep saying, quote, do press or you're going to get fined, and continue to ignore the mental health of the athletes that are the centerpiece of their corporation, then I just got to laugh. So what she's advocating for here is that she thinks that players shouldn't be required to do press. Well, that I'm going to just say no. I completely disagree with that. I'm not with her at all on that. This is part of the economic machine that makes up her prize money. And that is 100% accurate, right? Because why do the tournaments want to be covered? Why do the tournaments offer press credentials and pay people on their staff to facilitate press coverage? They do that because they want the maximum number of eyeballs on their tournament. They want the maximum number of eyeballs on their tournament so they can sell the sponsorship spots for the highest dollar amounts, and so that they can sell their TV rights for the highest dollar amounts. More press coverage, more eyes, more sponsorship money. The tournaments have an interest in their athletes being covered. And by the way, so do the athletes, which makes this kind of interesting because in the grand scheme of things here, Naomi Osaka is someone who has benefited very much from her incredibly charming and unique disposition in press. And I know a lot of people who were turned on to her as a player and as an athlete by the way she comes across in an extremely relatably shy and humble, but then she also started to open up and start to feel a little bit more confident in herself. And I think that was a very relatable transition that she was making. My main point in this is to say that if Naomi Osaka was never given a microphone, she would not be nearly as popular as she is right now. And there are plenty of players who can win 4 slams and not be as popular as Naomi Osaka is right now, making $50 million off the court in endorsements. If she never got a microphone, that never would have happened. So not only do the tournaments have an interest, which is the main reason why I disagree with Osaka's call for press to be optional. Not only do tournaments have an interest, but the athletes probably have an interest as well. Not probably. They do. They do. So the second thing that she's basically asking for is for questions to become less stupid. That's all, right? She's saying the questions stink. The questions aren't respectful. Well, if you've ever watched a tennis press conference, I think that this is pretty difficult to argue with. The average quality of questions are not as high as they should be. So it's not written in Osaka's Instagram post, but I suppose the solution to that would be credentialing less press. And while I'm completely open to that as a positive means of reform, I don't see that happening because Osaka decides not to talk to the media during the French Open. And if I look at this holistically, I just cannot imagine any press conference reform coming from this. And if you disagree with me, if there's a type of press conference reform that I'm not thinking about, definitely throw it in the comments, and I'd be interested to hear what that is, right? How can we make press conferences better for the athletes? How can we make them you know, how could we optimize them like Osaka would want? I'm all ears. Or if you think that maybe this will lead to something, go ahead and tell me in the comments, but I just can't see it. I can't see this leading to anything. So overall, what is her complaint, and will this help? I don't agree with her complaint. I think she does deserve the fines that are coming to her. And I can't see the press conference reform coming from this. So on a micro level, I think this is going to have very little effect. The media is going to be fine. The articles are going to be fine. Believe me. They don't need Naomi Osaka. They will do their jobs. It will be okay. And Osaka will be fine as well. Again, she can afford it. I think that she has plenty of moral ground to stand on. It is her right to not go to press and pay the fines. So I don't think that this is going to have much of effect on anything. But I do want to end on this. It's kind of sad to me that the press conference questions have such weight with her. I wish that they didn't. And I understand why they might. And I understand, believe me, I think everyone goes through these things. Whether it be me reading a YouTube comment from some random person with no avatar, and that getting to me for some reason, right? When it shouldn't. I know something like that shouldn't. And as I've done this longer and longer, it gets to me less and less. And then I think when you're a professional athlete or whatever you do in the public eye, there are things that get to you that shouldn't. So I'm not saying that Osaka should be stronger, Osaka should be tougher, because she's human and it happens to everyone. But at the same time, I would say I do wish that she understands how much more important, how much more powerful, and how little importance these journalists that ask her questions, how little power they should have in her mental health. That her mental health, that if she got into a place where she didn't let them affect her mental health, that would be the ideal situation for everyone. I can't help but be a little bit sad that clearly she's been affected by press conference questions when obviously the ideal would be that her mental health and her self-esteem could be in a place where it's bulletproof to that. And hopefully, I really hope that she gets to that place where she has that fullest confidence in herself, that it doesn't matter how ridiculous, how horrible, how demeaning a press conference question is, and she can just shrug it off and roll with the punch and throw it right back at him. So those are my thoughts on Osaka boycotting the media for the French Open. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.